Hello everybody, today I'm going to be covering a topic that I think will be quite familiar to a lot of you, that being how to stop losing on time in chess. So I've made a plan for how you should divide your time in the opening, middle game and end game, run through some examples and just some basic do's and don'ts of how you should manage your time. Let's get on with it. Okay, so I'd like to address the core fundamental of time management. I propose that you divide your time 20, 50, 30. What that means is that you're going to spend 20% of your time in the opening, 50% in the middle game, and 30% in the end game. This is a rough guide, but if you can keep somewhat on track with this, then I doubt you'll ever lose on time again. For example, you're playing a 15-minute classical game. It's always good if you're trying to get better at chess, you should be playing longer time controls, like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. First off, you're going to spend 3 minutes of your time in the opening. You are going to spend 7.5 minutes in the middle game, and you are going to, quick maths, spend 4.5 minutes in the end game. Now that I've got all that out of the way, it's time to talk about the first step, openings. You should know, let's say, of course it's going to be different for every rating level, but I'm going to make a little bit of an iffy rule here. So I want you to take your rating, I want you to take the first two digits, so let's say you're 1600, that would be 16. You are going to take 4 off of that, and that is how many moves deep you should know your openings. It's a bit of a wishy-washy rule, but I think it should help you out. Personally, I use the website Chessable for my chess studies, not sponsored. I think I'm studying the Dragon and the Grunfeld course at the minute. Those two work really well together in terms of openings. They've both got the Dart Squared Fee and Chess Bishop, so there's a bit of continuity between them. Now let's talk about the middle game, which is going to take up 50% of your allotted time. That's quite a big chunk, but the reason I've made that so big is because the middle game, that's where everything happens. That is where there'll be a fight and one player will come out on top. If you can get good at the middle game, you will become better at chess. I would recommend training chess puzzles. And an interesting note on chess puzzles, I know quite a few people who spend 10 minutes on the chess puzzle. I think this is great. I mean, you can do that if you want, but I recommend that you spend around 30 seconds on a chess puzzle, because the entire idea of training puzzles is that you're getting better at tactics, and if it would take you 10 minutes to solve a puzzle, that's not really going to happen in an online game. I mean, maybe if you're playing really long time controls, sure, train 10 minutes on a puzzle. If you can solve these puzzles in 30 seconds, you spot them a lot easier in your games, and that could be the difference between winning and losing. This will probably happen naturally, but you want to be very familiar with the middle games that come from your openings. So, for example, let's say you play the Stafford Gambit, favourite of international master Eric Rosen. It's a very aggressive position, you want to know all the attacking ideas. For example, the knight, I believe, comes to the g4 square, and then you got all like the Greek gift ideas, the h5 pawn, that's the fishing pole trap. You want to be familiar with all of these ideas. This sort of basic, I'm going to call it game sense, is what can really help you out and will save you a lot of time, especially in time controls like rapid. Personally, I feel that I play my rapid games with a lot of instinct. I'm not calculating to that much of an extent. I think that looks like a good move, I'm going to play it. And that comes with time and experience in the openings that you play. So keep on practicing. And now the final section of the game, which is going to take 30% of your allotted time, the endgame. I cannot explain to you how important endgames are. You could become a very high level player. You could become 2600 just by being extremely good at endgames and good at trading off pieces, because that's all you have to do. You just have to trade off the pieces, I mean, dodge a few attacks maybe, and then you just convert these endgames flawlessly, like Magnus Carlsen. Depending on your level, you should be definitely familiar with rook and pawn endgames, king and pawn endgames. I've got a video on my channel about the bishop and knight mate, however that is quite uncommon. I'm going to revive the endgame series as well with like the rook and pawn endgame, so keep a lookout for those. Now that we've covered how you should be splitting up your time and how to train the positions in your opening, middle game, end game to get better at chess, we're going to have a look at some do's and don'ts of time management. The first of these is going to be don't rush. I know that it's hard. You are losing on time a lot, and then you think, okay, I've decided I'm going to speed up my game, but you still need to be cautious. I know it's a bit annoying, but there's certainly a balance to strike. So for example here, 20% of your time in the opening. It's not like the biggest chunk, but you still should have enough time to sort of consider your moves, like slight calculation, especially since openings can go off-piste quite commonly at like the, certainly like below the 2000 level. The culprit of rushing openings in this example is one of my many opponents that I've played in the delayed Alpen. We are going to have a look at it from their side of the board. So I played e4, they respond with c5, knight f3, d6, c3. This was delayed Alpen. Knight f6, I played bishop e2. And even at the 2000 and above level, you still get people who spend 3 seconds. I mean, some of them might have learned by falling for it before, but they play knight takes e4. They literally spend 3 seconds. And then, of course, queen a4 just simply wins the knight. This is a fork. This is one of the main opening ideas in the delayed element. Knight c6 and queen takes e4. So please, just spend a little bit of time playing longer time controls. You will thank me later. The second time management example that I'd like to have a look at actually features 2 mistakes, both mistakes made by yours truly, and that is not following the 20-50-30 rule. It's a rough guide, but it should be followed somewhat. And then the second is common sense. I'm just going to call it that. You see what I mean in a second. So in this position, I do have the white pieces. I'm playing blitz. That's actually the third mistake of all. If I'm trying to get better, I should be playing at least rapid or classical. I have 45 seconds on the clock. This position is like a middle game, endgame sort of fusion, but I'm meant to have 1 minute 30 for the endgame, so it's not looking that good. I played g4, trying to start an attack. My opponent plays a move queen c5. Okay, this is the common sense. This is the common sense mistake. At the minute, I still have 44 seconds left on the clock. This is winnable, but it's only really winnable if I play the move queen takes c5. The pawn recaptures, I've got a passed pawn, I've got pressure over here. This is fine. I'd be quite comfortable in winning this with the time that I have. If you've seen any of my Win at Chess episodes, you know I'm quite well at dealing with microscopic amounts of time. But instead of going for the sensible, common sense option of the queen trade, after queen c5, I play the move queen f6. I actually spent 30 seconds on this move. Should have just immediately, automatically played queen takes c5, but no, queen takes f6. This does try to ignite an attack, but after queen e3 check, king b1, 9 seconds left on the clock. Queen f3, g takes h5, 1 second left on the clock. Queen takes h5, rook dg1, b takes a4. All of these are pre-moves. Rook g5, queen h6, and if I have a little look at the evaluation, this is a 6+ advantage, but the truth is I don't have enough time to win this position at all. I should have been more sensible with the way I used my time by following the 20-50-30 rule. And also, in that point where I've already sort of messed up by not following the rule, I should have just immediately taken the queen trade. Queen c5, queen takes c5, d takes c5. This is rescuable. I hope that you found this video helpful. If you did, maybe a subscribe and like, who knows? Click here for my most recent video, and here for the one that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye.